Listen to that. Let's see if you could hear it. There it is. And it says something about, that means EOL. What the does EOL mean? Hello, Rich here. Welcome to the channel. Well, camping season is right around the corner, and Kathie and I are getting our camper ready to go. I thought I'd make a video on how I changed the CO2 propane alarm on ours, and also I'm going to go over all the other items and systems you should check on your RV before you head out camping. I wish you all a happy and healthy camping season. If you like this video, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Enjoy. Alright, so we removed the drain plug when we drained the system. Now it's time to put it back in. So we're going to put a little Teflon tape on the threads here. Not too much, we'll go around it a couple of times so it doesn't leak. And we'll screw that in like so. We really don't have to go crazy on it. That ought to be good. You don't want to sock that down too tight. For this system, I'm going to use a half a cup of bleach for every 30 gallons. And that's about what our tank is, 26 gallons, so right around a half a cup. Let's make sure the bypass is open to the hot water heater. Some systems have 2 bypasses. So I'm going to open both of mine. There's one, and there's the other one. Okay, now you can hear the hot water tank filling up. As soon as that builds up pressure, we'll check all the other faucets. When we do have a leak, oh, I don't know if you could see that. That's terrible. You don't want to overlook before you go camping for the season is your brakes. On this particular trail, we just had these done about 500 miles ago, so I know everything is in good shape. But I want to show you a quick way that you can, just a do a quick assessment of your braking system and your wheel bearings to make sure that things are good. And if you can find anything that might need attention, then you could bring it to a shop and have it taken care of. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to chock the wheels on the opposite side of the wheel that you're going to jack up. Next thing to do is to jack the trailer up just so the tire comes off the ground. We're not taking the tire off. Making sure that you don't put the jack under the axle, and you don't want to put the jack, you want to be careful with the jack not to pinch any pipes or lines or wires or anything that's under there on the bottom. So you want to grab the frame, we're going to jack it up and get the tire off the ground. So the first thing you want to do once you have the tire off the ground is just grab a hold of the wheel and see if you feel any kind of wiggle or slop in the bearing. A little bit of slop is okay. I'd rather see a bearing that's a little bit loose than too tight, because if the bearing's too tight, the bearings heat up and then you can cook the bearings. If you do feel anything like any slop or anything abnormal here, it's time to get that wheel bearing checked out, and probably your brakes too, because you want to make sure that that magnet is not rubbing up against the drum. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to spin this tire. I could just about hear the brake pad dragging a little bit. We're going to spin this tire really good, and then we're going to go and pull the emergency breakaway switch, which should engage the brakes. And I got a problem. Okay guys, we're going to have to look at this for a minute. It's obvious we have a problem. So I then put the pin back in the breakaway switch before plugging the camper into the back of the pickup truck. I do this because I don't want to run the risk of blowing any fuses in the truck if there is in fact a short somewhere in the trailer braking system. So I then had my wife Kathie step on the brake while I went out to the trailer wheel and tried to turn it, and sure enough the brakes worked perfectly. I did this on both sides and they definitely worked perfectly. So you could see why I like this quick method of inspection, because you could find out a lot of information in a short amount of time and quickly diagnose any problems you might have. And then you could make a decision what you want to do next depending on your skill set, whether you want to tackle the job yourself or bring it into a shop. Now this camper doesn't get driven much. It sits in the woods pretty much for the whole entire camping season, once a year. So chances are there is a connection corroded somewhere in the breakaway circuit. We're going to have to put that in another video because this one's already getting kind of long. Now back to the video. Hold on a minute, I almost forgot to show you how I replaced the CO2 and propane alarm. It's very important. Listen to that. See if you can hear it. There it is. That happens every 30 seconds or so. It's been driving me crazy. We got red, red, green, green. And it says something about, that means EOL. What does that mean? Oh, there it is. So red, red, green, green. End of life. EOL stands for end of life. So that's what it is. Wow. That looks like it. That should be enough time. quick. You gotta love Amazon. Pretty easy. They just use these little sort of crimp connectors. I wonder if we could reuse these things. I'm just gonna cut these off. How about we use a couple of these little wire nuts? I think they'll work fine. Of course, I pulled the fuse, and there's no power going to this thing right now. Black to red, I bet. So, evidently these CO2 alarms only have a life expectancy of about 5 years. This one here is about 3 years past the expiration date, long overdue. Alright, that'll work. I'll put this one here. A little bit tight quarters putting this one in here. Crouch it down. Feels good though, nice and tight. Alright, hopefully we won't see any burning or smoke when I put this together. I'm going to plug the fuse in right about now. I got a green blinking light, so I'll have to look at the code on that and see what that is. I'm sure it's normal. And that's all there is to it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you remember all the things that you have to check on your RV or motorhome before you head out for the camping season. I know I'm sure I missed a few things. Feel free to leave a comment below. I did have a problem with the sink. It froze and cracked, so I ordered a new faucet and we'll make a video on that. And I did have some trouble with the brakes. I realized that the breakaway switch is not engaging the brakes, so I'm going to look into that. And that's pretty much it. In an effort to keep this video somewhat watchable, I tried to make it enjoyable. I hope you did enjoy the video, and don't forget to hit that like button if you did. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.